Hey everyone, this is Heidi coming to you from sunny Florida. Today is Monday, November 7th, and this is episode 24 on my YouTube channel. I want to welcome everybody who is coming to see me for the first time. Thank you for checking me out. And for my returning viewers, I'm glad you're here with me for another episode. If you'd like to find me, I'm also on Instagram and Ravelry as Yarned Heidi. So I do a lot of stuff on Instagram mainly. Today I have a lot of things to talk about with my knitting, my crocheting, and cross stitching. I got it all in my rotation. So I am so thankful that I got all that inspiration back into my life again. Anyway, it's been a great 2 weeks. I am putting along on some very long projects that I've been knitting on, so I don't really have too many cast-ons. Matter of fact, do I even have one on here? Yeah, it's just something small. So I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 finished objects and a lot of works in progress, but like I said, they are long. So, and I'm kind of getting a little bored with it. I want to start new things, but then I hate that I have all these works in progress on my needles, even though I like having a lot, but these are long ones, so I don't see them getting completed within the next month or so. So let's talk about what my finished objects are. Okay, the first one is a muscle burrow hat. Here it is. Now, if you're new, I have talked about this hat for a couple of episodes now. It was never ending. These muscle burrow hats can be long, but the fun thing is it's knit, knit, knit. You can go wherever you are and just knit and don't have to worry about remembering the pattern. So, so let me tell you a little bit about this project. I made it for my boyfriend's son. He's been nagging me for a hat, and so I did it. The thing was, I started off with this green color, and it's by Round Mountain Fibers in their Botany collection, and the colorway is Succulent green. Anyway, guess what? I lost it, Yarn Chicken. I had to add in another color, which you can see is up here. And this one was out of my stash. I don't know what yarn company it is. I don't know what colorway. I don't know anything about it, but it was in my stash. I think I made socks with them. So I used a size 3 on this and an adult large. It is tremendous. So I'm like so nervous that it's not going to fit him, but he does have a large head, so he's convinced it's going to fit him. Look at this. I can cover everything. And let's see, it is huge. But you could make a rim on it. You could fold it up so it won't be so bad. And it actually fits better when I put the rim up. So hopefully with him, it'll fit just right. He says it will, so keep my fingers crossed. When I go up there for Thanksgiving in November, he's getting it. We'll see how it goes then. I'll let you know if it fits him. What else can I tell you about this? Just that it's the largest size, and I want to show you, for those who've never seen a musselburgh, it's like making a big tube, and you're really knitting 2 hats because one goes into the other. It's like a double knit. So you knit, and then you put one side into the other. Let's see if I can do it now while I'm on camera. Okay, here we go. There. I'll fix it later so that it looks, more tightly in there. Yeah, so that's my muscle burrow. I'm glad I'm finished with it. It took forever. So that's going off as a gift. Okay, the next thing that I did was, and I did within, like I started it late at night. The next morning it was done. It's another dishcloth from the Year of Dishcloths from the kitchen sink shop. Every month she puts out a new dishcloth inspired by books that she's read when growing up. And this was from Pride and the Prejudice. That was the inspiration from that book, The Pride and Prejudice, and it's called the Darcy dishcloth from the Pride and Prejudice. So I really loved making this. I think this was my favorite one to make. It's a simple but fun pattern. 1, 2, 3, knits up quickly, and it's kind of fun. So I don't normally make things over and over again, like especially like a pattern dishcloth. I mean, I'll do like a grandmother's, my favorite grandma's dishcloth where you make a lot of them. But this is a pattern one. I want to do this again. I got plenty of yarn left over. The yarn is from Knit Picks. They're Dishy Cotton. And I think the colorway is Dewdrop. Yeah, it's Dewdrop. And she calls for a size 3 on the patterns, but I'm finding that they're too short and not wide enough, so I went up to a size 5, and I really like it much better. So this is the Darcy dishcloth by the Kitchen Sink Shop. All the patterns are free because I signed up for her newsletter, and every month on the first of the month, she sends out the newsletter, and attached to it is the pattern. I highly recommend it, and she said that she is going to do it again next year. So I kind of like it. So I'm going to give some people gifts with this. I give a dishcloth, and I wrap it around a little thing of dish liquid and a ribbon, and happy holidays. Or a housewarming gift. You go to somebody's house any time of the year, you give them something like this, so easy, and they all appreciate it because they could use it. So that's my dishcloth. Okay, I'm just going to take a sip of my decaf coffee. I'm very dry here. Okay, the next thing is, this was a finished object, and I showed it a few episodes ago, but I got it framed. And even though you see it after I did the work on it, it really comes together when it's framed. It's a cross-stitch thing that I found on a Facebook group on cross-stitch, and it's called the Heidi Motel. And I got it framed from my cross-stitch shop called the Cross-Stitch Cupboard here in Florida. And this pattern I saw on the Facebook group that for cross-stitches, and I messaged the person, and I said, where did you get that? I gotta have it, because after all, Heidi. And they have a Main Street shop there that has the chart. So I contacted them, paid for it, and a PDF file came in my email, and boom, I did it. I love it. But I really love the frame. I picked out the frame. That's one of my knacks, is color. And I knew I wanted something wood because it's like an old style type, motel. And so this is what I picked. And there's a little tint of blue in there. So it kind of goes with this blue fabric. So the fabric is, I think it's a 28 count linen. And I loved working on it. And I loved working on this whole thing. It was pretty quickly done, but the frame is shabam. I love it. So I'm very happy with this. Then the other thing, I was addicted and in love with the outcome. I wanted to make my son and his new wife a Christmas ornament for their first year being married. And I make them an ornament every year, but this one I wanted to do for their first Christmas together. Well, I took the fabric that I had out of my stash. I found something on Etsy, a pattern for a wedding ornament. It was called Wedding Ornament, and it came out gorgeous. I was addicted to it. I could not stop. There it is. On camera, it doesn't even do it justice. It says our first Christmas as Mr. and Mrs., and I put the date 2022. It's all wrinkly now, but I'm going to iron it out, and I'm going to bring it to the cross-stitch shop to finish it off and make it into a beautiful ornament. I can stitch and I do it well, but I cannot put things together that look professional. It looks like, elementary school kid could put it together. And after all the work and the love and the effort I put in it, I want it to come out really professional looking. So let me see if I can show you a close-up to it. It doesn't even do it justice in this camera. There's gold beads in there. You can't see them too well, but they're gold. And there's this Krynic, which is a gold thread. Silvery, which is a, pardon my French, a PIA to work with. It's a gold type thread that splits. It's hard to get through the fabric, and it's horrible. But thank goodness I only had to do it on these 2 poinsettias, and yeah, that's it. So I wish the gold could show up. So annoying with, but these beads are beautiful. So I'm gonna get that set. So like I said, the fabric is for my stash, and I use DMC thread floss and beads. I picked up these little gold beads, size 11, tiny, tiny beads, and there's a lot of them here. And that's it. I love it. So this weekend, I'm gonna bring it off and get it worked. And the reason why I really got going fast on this is because the cross stitch shop said that, you know, after they have a cutoff date to bring in things, you know, like after Thanksgiving, forget it, because they're backed up doing everybody else's finishing. So I said, oh, I better get it in there before Thanksgiving. So that's what I'm doing. And plus, I want it done in time to give it to them as one of their gifts. Or, you know, I don't know. They don't really watch this podcast. One, my son, not interested, except if I have like the before and after the podcast where it's more about life stuff. And two, his wife, she's not a stitcher or anything, so once in a while she'll watch it. They'll watch it this time. It doesn't matter. I'm giving it to them, and when they really get it, it's like, it's a beautiful surprise anyway. So that's my finished objects. So I did good considering that I have all these long projects. Now, what I'm going to show you now with my works in progress, it's not all of them because some of them are kind of like in hibernation until I get some things done. So I have a cozy memory blanket. Actually, I worked on that a couple of times. So next I'm going to show you how big it's gotten. That I've started, I don't even know how long ago. I have my Florida Mystery make-along that ended way ago because I got injured right after it started, so I couldn't keep up with it naturally, and it's passed since the spring. So it's in hibernation. Hopefully I'll get it done before the next year's state comes out. What else? I have another thing from my Yarnier subscription, a little Jolla. I really should do that because it's almost done. I think I'll work on that this week. So there are some things that I'm not going to show today because I didn't give them any love. They're in hibernation. That's okay. I'll show you what I did get to work on a little bit here and there. This project I'm doing a little along with some friends with our minis. I only do this when I am in the car waiting around because it's so easy and I don't have to look at anything. It's my Wallop Cowl by Lynette Bosman. And here it is with my minis. I'm just doing willy-nilly with the colors. I don't care. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm on the 10th color. You do it for 24, 25 colors. I'll see. And I'm using a size 6 needle. All these minis that my friend gave us. And you have a provisional cast on. So this is going to be a cowl. Like, eventually you're going to put this cast on onto the needles, and then the end of this will go on, and you connect them. It'll be a big cowl that you could probably wrap around twice on you. I don't know, it's kind of cool. I like being a little flamboyant and colorful like this. It's fun to look at. It's like fun. So that's it. What else can I tell you about it? Nothing much. That's basically it. I started doing an eyelet round at the after about 6 rounds or something like that to make it. That's how she has it in the pattern, like on the 9th one. But my friends, they started from the get-go, and I kind of like it. So better late than never, I guess. So that's my cowl that I'm working on here and there when I go places. Okay, this is another one. I finally gave it some love. It's my Scrappy Socks. It's taken me forever, but I'm doing it because I love making socks. I like to have socks on the needles because it's my, when I don't want to deal with a lot of my other projects that I have to look at the pattern, I just go back to my socks and just watch TV and enjoy knitting while doing that. Here they are. Scrappy, Scrappy. There's about 6 different colorways in here. And it's toe up. So I'm having fun doing that as a different change. So I started with that. And then what I do is I do about 5 colors of each colorway. And the foot part, I'm doing about 80 rounds. And then I'm putting in, let's see if you can see it. I put in some waste yarn to make an afterthought heel down here. So I'm going to cut into that soon. And then I'm going to do 40 rows for the leg. And then maybe 15 rows. I'm on the cuff now. 15 rows with a 2x2 ribbing. I'm on a size 1 needle on 2 circulars, my favorite way to knit socks. And for the cuff and the heel and the toe, I'm doing this colorway. That's just the way it worked out. But anyway, they're fun. Lately, I've been into these fun colors, and that's it. Anything else to tell you? Nope. So I'm on the cuff, almost done. I'll put in the heel, and then I'll have 1 sock done, and then I have to start the other one. So that's kind of fun to do, a scrappy sock, because I've mentioned before that all these scraps that I have, all these little leftover yarns, drive me crazy. I mean, my shelving where I keep all my yarn, I have one of these shelves from IKEA, the Colath, I think it's called. They're like falling out. It's so much stuff, and it just, I like cringe every time I see it. So I'm trying to work through that. You know, I just don't want to throw away. Some of these are really, full, and I don't want to throw them away. So and I've already put them into my cozy memory blanket. So what am I going to do with it? I'll just keep making these scrappy socks. Okay, but I am going away soon. I don't want to do scrappy socks because the cutting and all of that, I'm going to put on another pair of socks on the needles that don't require all that cutting. What else did I want to say about this? Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention now. I have a little bit of an issue that drives me crazy when changing colors. It gives this line. I don't know, when I stretch it out, you can see the connection when you're making the new yarn in there. So I looked up on YouTube and I found a way. I don't know if it's any better. I'm going to see once I put it on blockers. When you change the color, do the first round, and when you go to the second round, at the beginning of the row, pick up that stitch from below and put it on the needles and do the first stitch and that extra stitch together. And they say that will avoid that gap and that look there. And so far, it looks like it might be working. When I put it on the sock blocker, I'll really be able to tell. So that's what but unfortunately, it drove me crazy enough, but until I didn't start doing it until I put in this waistline for the afterthought heel that I started doing that method. So I'm going to put it on sock blockers and see if that made a difference. If not, I'll keep looking for another way to do it that's not so complicated. Okay, so that's that. The other thing is a crochet project. I'm so glad that's back into my life again. I saw on another podcast on her podcast that she was making this mandala afghan, and I asked her where she got it. Actually, she told on the podcast, and I had to have it because it was so beautiful looking. So it's from Annie's, and I got one of their kits on their mandala afghan, and it's the floral-paradise is the name of the pattern that they're doing it. Let me see. Floral-paradise afghan. This is it. So I'll show you. I've made some progress before. And I forgot to mention, I started this out. My stitch count was wrong, and I was like way into it. It drove me so crazy because I knew that it was going to kick me in the butt later on. Even though everything worked out at the end of the round, I was too scared and I ripped it up. So this is actually my second one, but it got bigger, so I've progressed. Here it is. So I'm on the part 2 of it, but I'm chomping along. I really love doing it. So I'm using it. The pattern calls for a size G and H. I have now gone up to an H, so it is getting bigger rapidly and it's getting heavy. This yarn is their yarn. I wouldn't say that I think it's more like an Aran weight than a worsted weight. It is pretty heavy. So I think it's coming out so cool. And you know what? It's trending, these Mandela Afghans, these other ones. I might, after this one is done, I might do a different one. Because I love the look. I love that you incorporate all different stitches in there. And what's great about this with Annie's is every time they send you a new part and the yarn, you get every month, you get a whole package of new yarn, the new pattern for that part, and you go online, every single section has a tutorial. So I hardly had to read the pattern. Mostly I'm watching the tutorial, and then if it's an easy round, I'll follow the pattern. But for the most part, I watch the tutorials and I go that way, and boom, it is so cool. I love it. So, and this is a project that I look forward to doing. But again, with this kind of project, I gotta sit down, I gotta watch on my iPad what to do, and it's something that I really can't take. And it's getting heavy, so I can't take it out anyway. So that's my crochet. The last work in progress that I'm gonna show you is the make-along that I'm doing with the Stephen West make-along, the mystery make-along. For those who don't know, every year, Stephen West, who's a international designer, puts out a mystery make-along. And it runs through the month of October. You have like 4 weeks to do it, and every week he puts out a new clue, and by the end of the 4 weeks, you get a beautiful shawl. And his shawls are outstanding. They're a work of art. So even though if I'm not that crazy about the shawl, because you don't know what it's going to look like anyway, I'm far behind, so I saw it. I love the process of his shawls because he makes them so interesting, different things to do with the knitting and the techniques. It's really very cool. So if you are doing it and don't want to see this, it's only clue 1. I didn't get far. I'm not even done with it. It is a lot of knitting. If you don't want to watch this, just step aside. I'm almost done. I'm almost up to my acquisitions in my life. So you can click out and then come back in. It's up to you if you don't want to see it, but mostly everybody has gotten all 4 clues. They're done with it. I'm not working on a timeline with it. I don't care about that because I don't want to just spend my whole 4 weeks working on that one shawl, and it is a lot of knitting. I'm only on clue 1, and I'm only like halfway, but I listen to other podcasters, especially Natalie from Knitty Natty. 34 hours to do clue 1. That is insane. Like she said, it's like going to work, a full-time job to do clue 1. So same thing for me. I'm not going on a timeline. I'll show you what it is for now. And walk away. Don't look. It's if you don't want to know what clue 1 is. But mostly everybody's done it. Okay. Ready? I'll count so you can walk away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Here is my part of clue 1. It's like a chevron type pattern with all these loops here. The size needle I'm using is a size 4. And the yarn is from Moonglow Yarn Company. So the first color is, the pink is called Sunkissed Coral, which I wanted that kind of a color. And the brown is a warm cinnamon. This is from Moonglow Yarn Company. She has wonderful yarn. It knits up so beautifully. So See these loops? Eventually, you're going to be making braids in these loops. I can't wait to get to that part. I have to say, this is a lot of work because there's a lot of binding off and a lot of casting on, which takes more time to finish the row. And it's constant. I'm on like repeat 7, and there's like from 9 to 16, like seven rows to a repeat. So I'm on the 8th time. Is it 8? 7 or 8th time that I'm doing the repeat. So I got to do it either 4 or 5 times, depending on how many repeats I'm at. 4 times of doing 7 repeats. Yep, it's taken forever. And then I don't even know if that's the end of the clue. I have to read on. I don't know if we have to do something after we get to this point. I have no idea. But I do a little bit. What I try to do is each day when I get to it, I try to do a full repeat from row 9 to 16. And I try to get that, and then I call it a day. That's it. What else can I tell you about this? The pattern's called Twist and Turns from Cedar West. I mean, you can still get the pattern if you're interested in do it, but actually the make-along is over. But I will finish it along with that other make-along with Florida, the mystery tour, the mystery knit along with that. That's why I'm like, too many things. I'm not making another shawl until I get rid of at least one of these. Hopefully, if somebody doesn't convince me, because I did get sucked into another shawl to make. I got sucked into another advent, which I'll tell you about. And that's it. So we're going to go on to acquisitions. Okay, the month of October, through the membership I belong to with Nitty Natty, and her name is Natalie, and she has a Love and Stitches membership. That's the name of her podcast and her website, and she was having, and I belong to, and she has a membership. So, and you can go on to nittynatty.com and you can look for all that information there. I love that membership. I've made a lot of friends through it. I've done a lot of knit-alongs through it. I go on Zoom. It's a great membership. So anyway, for that month of October, they had a spooky make-along. Either knit or crochet, whatever you want to do. And I did actually 2 things. I did spooky socks and I did a Halloween gnome, which is behind me there, that little guy there. So we did it, and then at the end of the month, October 31st or the 1st of November, I look on, she also has a Discord group through the membership. I won one of the prizes. There was 2 winners, and I won one. It pays to do these little make-alongs. You never know. Submit it. Don't say, oh, I'm not going to win. Because guess what? Sometimes I do win. So she gifted me, after I won, this beautiful skein of yarn. It's called, well, first it's from Arcane Fiberworks. I've never used their yarn. I have no idea. It's a merino nylon, fingering weight 80-20. So 80 merino and 20 nylon. And its colorway is called Hocus Pocus. And the socks, I don't know which one I won it from, but the socks that I made said Hocus Pocus on them. So that is so pretty. Thank you, Natalie. I love it. I love being in that membership. I mean, forget about the prizes and everything like that. I don't care about that. It's the friendships I have made and the connections. Really a great thing. So that's the yarn that I want. Then she's also doing, from starting, I think, the Friday after Thanksgiving, for like 3 weeks, she's doing a sock-along called Sockmas. And you do have to make a pair, not just one, but 2, in the 3 weeks. And again, I guess there'll be prizes. And she had some sponsors. I think I ordered from Yarn. I'd have to check to see if I did. They're sponsored Yarn, but I didn't get that yet. But I did order a bag from White Rose Fiber Company. That's Courtney. She also has a podcast called Knit Now, Swatch Later. This is probably like my 6th bag I got from the White Rose Fiber Company. So this is one of the sponsored bags that is for the Sockmas. And it is beautiful. I got the medium size. And how cute, a little progress keeper of a stocking. Inside is really pretty with the Christmas stuff. You know, with snowflakes. So pretty. I can't wait to put something in this. Of course, I have to put socks when after Thanksgiving. So that was from the White Rose Fiber Company. So she's participating as a sponsor, and I had to have it. Plus, I like to support her. She's just a nice person. Then, okay, so now I'm doing a couple of advents. I'm doing a yarn advent from Ruby and Rose's Yarn Company. And I'm also doing a stitch marker / progress keeper advent because I love stitch markers and progress keepers. It's like jewelry on your knitting or crocheting. So I found one, and maybe she posted it on the Discord. I don't know. So in the meantime, even though you don't get the stuff until November, but you open it on like December 1st, and it's like getting a present every day for the month of December until Christmas. So you open up something every day, and I love that. So the one that I'm getting, the yarn one, every day I'll open one, and I'll get a little mini. And at the end, I'm going to figure out what project to do with the minis. I don't know. But I might not do a project with the minis right away. It depends on what everybody else is doing, if we're going to have a knit along, or if not, we'll see. I might not do it right away when I get these minis from the yarn advent. And then the progress keeper, that one I'm doing with Adore Knit. And they sent a little card that says, you know, we're getting ready for the Christmas advent, and we just wanted to get you excited about it. And so they sent a progress keeper or stitch marker of a penguin. I got so excited with it. I love it. I love the clasp because these are easy to put on your work. It's open and close, easy to put that on. Isn't that cute, that little penguin? I can't wait to use it. But the advent, I think, is like pretty jump rings and like a pearl or something attached to it for each day, something colorful. I don't know. I can't wait to get it. So that is what I'm doing with my advents. It's like getting a present every day. It's so much fun. I'm thinking about getting one for my boyfriend, not yarn or anything related to that. But I don't know, I want him to have such fun opening up something every day too. It kind of like makes, you look forward to it every day in December. I don't know, it's so exciting. Maybe I'll do it. I'm convincing myself to press that click button for him to buy something that he would maybe like. Nothing knitting or anything like that. Either food or a beverage type thing. So that is my acquisitions. Now life. Let's see. Not much exciting stuff, but fun stuff. Last week was my sister's birthday, so we celebrated with her, a bunch of her friends and me. Went to a restaurant, and I love the restaurant that we went to because you overlooked the water. So that to me is a beautiful day out to celebrate with her and the atmosphere. And that was an awesome day, celebrating my sister's birthday and at a beautiful restaurant and beautiful people. And it was a nice day out. Then this weekend, a friend of mine invited me to go kayaking to a place I've never been to before. It's about an hour away from where I am. And it ended up to be at like a state park. And they have trails in there, and you could kayak and paddleboard. So she's a member to this park, and she pays one set fee, and she can invite a guest, and you get the kayaking for free and the admission into the park for free. And well, anyway, it was gorgeous. You go to a spot. They have a gift shop there. They have picnic tables there. They have trails to go walking along. And I just went to this spot because we were going kayaking. And all you do is you grab a kayak, and there's a little spot to put it in the water, and the whole, it's like an estuary, but I think it's on the intercoastal. And you kayak there. I'm going to insert a picture, and it is breathtaking. Trees, the mangroves are there, and it was gorgeous. I can't explain it. Now, I'm a New Yorker, and I miss that kind of stuff because, yeah, the palm trees are beautiful, and the ocean is beautiful, and the boating and all that stuff. But I miss, like, trees and the waterways where it's not like just ocean. You know, where I live, you can go somewhere, you can go to a lake, you can go to the mountains, you can go to the beach for a couple of hours away, lakes. And I really miss that. I was a hiker. I miss the mountains, hiking up that. And this place brought that back to me. And I really, really loved it. I want to go back. I'm going to take Bill back with me to kayak. And there's also paddle boarding there. And even if we don't, we can walk. But then, after we got done kayaking, she took me on one of the trails. And you walk on this boardwalk, and then you go up this hill, and you go for a while. They even have a golf cart where they can take you from back and forth on this boardwalk thing. But we walked it. It wasn't a far walk. We walked along, and then you go over this hill, up these stairs, boom, the ocean part. We were at the intercoastal, and then when we walked, we saw the ocean, and not many people. It was like a hidden gem. Hardly anybody was at the water, and it was a warm day. It was like 80 to 85, and a few people. It's like a little getaway. I'm going to go back there. When we go, we can kayaking afterwards. We can go on that beach and just chill out and look at the water. It was gorgeous. I'm going to insert a picture of that too. So that when I have a day like that, I don't know about you guys, but I come back home and I am like almost like high, like a natural high. I feel good because I got a little exercise in. I spent the day with my friend, and then to see that, there's just a feeling you get when you do something like that. And then after we did our kayaking and walked a little bit, we went out to lunch, had a really nice lunch together. Again, it's on, this park is like on Single Island, which is a, beautiful area. It's a little touristy, but now it's not so touristy until like, after the new year, it gets crazy there. But it wasn't packed, and it was just beautiful. What a day that was. So that's how I spent my Saturday with a friend, kayaking and walking and looking at the beach. It was beautiful. And it gave me a touch of back in New York, which honestly, I do miss. Florida is nice, especially now the weather's getting a little bit cooler. It is beautiful. I don't miss those dreary, cold winter days there, but I do miss this part when the weather is beautiful. The fall and the spring is nice in New York. So this gave me a taste of that. Okay, enough with that, with my life. Just a couple of things I wanted to mention. I don't mention this often about things I'm watching, but it was worthwhile mentioning. I think it's on Netflix, and some of you might have watched it. It's called The Watcher, and we loved it. Now, I don't normally like thriller type shows. This was a little bit of a thriller, but it wasn't enough where I jumped out of my seat. I didn't. It had a lot of twists and turns, and at the end of it, it left you hanging too, like, who is it? So I highly recommend that one. The other one I really love too. I don't know if you guys get Peacock. I get it included in my my package here with Comcast or Xfinity, and it's called A Friend of the Family. What a show that is. It's a limited series based on a true story about a family that I think it's in, is it Idaho? Idaho or Utah? It might be Idaho, I'm not sure. Anyway, this family meets these neighbors who are involved in the church, and they met and they invited each other to each other's home. And one of the guys is kind of creepy, and his behavior is creepy, and he kidnaps it's based on a true story, kidnaps the neighbor's daughter, and it gets very involved, and there's a lot of brainwashing in there, and stuff like that. It is an excellent story based on a true story. Actually, the person that was affected, the young girl, at the beginning of the show, of the series, speaks about, this happened to me, so I want to tell you my story, and it is great. And now you can catch it on Peacock, but each week comes out a new episode, and this Thursday, I think is the series finale. I think it's this Thursday, so I'm anxious to find out what happened. I really can Google this story if I wanted to, and I probably will, because I want to know if this series is really true to the facts of what really happened. So that's excellent. So after that, I don't know what to watch. Any suggestions, give me a comment below. And that reminds me, anything I talked about today is going to be linked down below. If you have any questions for me or anything you'd like to tell me about my podcast, or if you want to ask a question about me personally, I'm an open book. I'd love to hear from you. So that is it for the week. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're getting all your knitting, crocheting, and even cross-stitching, whatever you like. It doesn't matter, as long as it brings you joy. So on that note, I wish you all peace and love in your life, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.